Hello, fellow El Pasean. My name is Dennis Anthony Lee. I presently reside and live in Wyoming for the past 13 years with a child that I will make you aware of, a scenario that will just so puzzle you that a group of judges or lawyers will do anything to try to cheat, deceive, and break the law just for a monetary gain. Now, in no way am I here trying to destroy the image of Laura Strathmann, but in many ways I'm here presently for justice. Justice for good people and good families who have been ruined by the courthouse of the 388 and by Laura Strathmann with her group of thugs, bullies, and thieves. They have all collaborated and they have literally robbed many families in El Paso blind. Some who didn't even know the process, some who didn't even understand what was really going on. Now, I'm going to say this to you and I'm going to prove to you why, as a United States Army veteran and a family member who have been ruined by Laura Strathmann and Doris Sipes, feminist movement and their group. I'm going to share with you my personal case to prove to you all the fraud that is going on presently in El Paso. And when I thought about it, I said, look, if this is what's going on and it has impacted me as a veteran, right? What would have happened to other people, Mexicans, black families, white families? I'm not living in Texas for 13 years. How on earth am I in a court in Texas when I live in Wyoming? But yet still, I'm going to prove to you of a huge fraud that is going on, and I am going to be the evidence for you to take note. And I want you to look at my case, and you're going to say, oh my God. She need to be imprisoned and she need to be placed in jail for treason, robbing me of due process as a veteran, trying to drag me into jurisdictions unknown. I do not live in Texas. How on earth I have a case, a custody issue in Texas when I live in Wyoming with the child that the court of Texas in previous divorce decree from 2008 that says to me I'm sole conservator because no one could find mom. Mom miraculously just disappeared, as she always does. But during that time, I had to be responsible. I had to be the father of a 2-year-old kid when I just came back from Iraq. And guys, I'm not going to just say much. I'm just going to let you listen, and I'm going to use my case to bring down all this house of cards. It needs to stop. Laura Strathmann is worse than a thief. She has robbed many families just for profit and have destroyed many lives of little Mexican boys and white boys and black kids and minorities. She might have appeared. I'm serious. Let's just stop and let me show you and I prove to you why you should not vote for her. I'm using my personal case.
Another one of my opponents has done about 240 cases in family law in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Another opponent has done about 396 cases
Okay.
in family law in the last 5 years. I have done 1,710 family law cases
Okay.
in the last 5 years. I'm on the 11th floor. I'm working every day. I'm in front of the judges. I'm practicing the law. I know the law. I know how the law is to apply to the families. I have a proven work ethic. That is what I bring to this bench.
My final question, if you were talking to an undecided voter, thinking about who they're going to cast their vote for, what would you tell them?
Tell them to vote for me. I have a proven work ethic. I believe in the integrity of a court. I very, very much believe that whenever you're dealing with litigants in any court, I don't care what it is, it starts right there at the court.
Yeah.
And whenever you've got judges that are sitting on the bench and they're making sure that their courts run the way they're supposed to run and not like a clubhouse or something else, then
It's not supposed to be run like a clubhouse, right? You heard her. And listen.
that is where you start with
So she knows the law.
I'm not going to Mickey Mouse around with anything else. I know the law. I'm going to apply the law to the facts of the case. I'm going to be fair, and I'm going to watch out for our children.
She's going to be fair, and she's going to watch out for her children. Guys, in the next series of videos, I'm going to prove to you how the 38 judicial system and how Laura Strathmann and a group of lawyers literally single-handedly tried to drag me from Wyoming, where I live with my child, and tried to drag me back into El Paso, Texas jurisdiction from an ex-wife who never lived there. She moved, came back, and she did a similar issue with another ex-army man, and Laura Strathmann is the same judge for him and his case, and she's also the same judge on other cases pertaining to my ex-wife. Collusion. Sergio Gonzalez, Doris Sipes, and many other lawyers, they are there in the community. Instead of being there to rendition the best interests of the child, they're doing something totally different. They're there robbing innocent citizens of America and innocent citizens who come to America to start a family. My life story is would totally make you cry. I'm not here for that. I'm here for this kid. Meet Andres Anthony Lee. I had Andres from he was actually 2 years old. Mom loves the club life in El Paso. She's Mexican, yes. I'm a black guy, you can hear my accent. And she swept me off my feet, yes, like the Mexican game. But eventually she started to do her little life party. Then it started to turn other things. I'm not that type of person. I found out she was pregnant with our son. But before, she was doing other stuff with other guys. Instead of being so naive, which I should have, it was time to part. But she's pregnant. I caught her in the act with someone else, cheating as her profession. And the other ex-army guy who she was married to, caught her doing the same thing, and he's in the same litigation. Now, how does this pertain to Laura Strathmann? That's what you're saying. How can you prove this? Let's get there. But you need to get the backstory before we go into the entire proceeding, guys. So what happened was that instead of being there fighting with her, she wasn't going to have this same kid that we're looking at right here. She said she was going to abort it. And I said, no, I might be leaving soon to go, yes, to Fort Bragg. And you might be wondering what my plans were at Fort Bragg. Yes, the Green Beret stuff. And instead, she started to act berserk. She started to act stupid. She's going to abort the kid. Now I'm stuck in a position, and my stress level, the war stress, all this stuff came in. But before, I was having minor issues. Yes, I literally was. I was hospitalized after Iraq. Literally hospitalized for 9 months. I wasn't here. But one thing I do know, that we had to put her in a facility so she did not kill this kid that we're looking at right here. It so happened that things fall out of place and someone had to be responsible for this young man. I used to pay her mom $250 to $300, and her sister, I let them claim in tax while I was trying to rebuild back my military life while I was at Fort Bliss. Going in the fields is very difficult. I am paying mom and grandmother to take care of my son. We couldn't find her on many occasions. I got fed up and it was time to cut. Someone has to be responsible for this kid, and I chose to be responsible. Right? While she was doing her party lives and everything, I chose, and drugs, whatever she was doing at nights, I chose to be responsible for this little boy. She would leave him with friends, and her own friend literally called me and told me, listen, he is sleeping over this person's house. Go get him. I don't trust this guy. I went, got him. This kid
Andres Lee with me here today, my little son. He's trying to show me a trick.
Is alive.
Here at the park walking around. And
this day,
what's this trick called, Andres?
I had only $10 in my account. I made a pledge to myself. No matter what, I could have gone back to Jamaica, walk away. I'm going to try to give this kid the best life possible. I'm going to try to give him the best life possible. I only had $350. Now I only have $10. Just bought him enough milk and supplies, guys. I've sacrificed so much, not only for him, for you also. I don't like to talk like this. And I did it not because, yeah, I want to do it to say and put it in your face. No, I'm not that type of person. If I tell you my life story, you will cry and you will change your life. But what happened that caused me to look at the judicial system in El Paso as a den of thieves? After the divorce in El Paso, Texas in May, I think it's 28, 2008, I went to divorce. I found out that Andrea Morales overdosed on cocaine in Fort Worth. The military told me about it. I flew over there and I saw something that broke my heart. I've never encountered drugs and never encountered these type of lifestyle. And only to see that, yes, I'm going forward to go to Fort Bragg, to go on the path of Green Beret. And here, your wife, strung out on drugs in a different state, when she told you she's going to visit her mother. I was heartbroken when the doctor told me in Fort Worth, from Fort Worth in a military facility, this is what happened. This is public knowledge, guys. Her criminal record is online. But what I'm going to share with you throughout this entire thing is how they came and how they have colluded and how they're doing this in the court system. But the backstory, guys, is very important. I'm not a part of a masculine movement. I'm not a part of a feminine movement like Laura Strathmann and Doris Sipes. You see, what's very important is justice right here. And justice not for me, but justice for him, this young man. Mom never showed up at the divorce. We couldn't find her. No one knew where she was. No one knew where she was. So I got a default. I didn't even know if this kid was mine. I did a DNA to verify it. And guys, let's jump to the meat of the matter. Many guys would have walked away when their army buddies were reprimanding them, telling them not to have this kid. It's not your son. Why are you buying diapers? Why are you doing this? You're an idiot. Been told to you by military personnel. Don't you see she's not here? She's just trying to bring you into trouble. She's just trying to hurt you. This kid is not yours. Now, let's jump 13 years after. I met a beautiful mamacita Mexicana in El Paso, going to El Paso Community College. And I decided to, I have nothing bad against Mexican. I just met the bad one first. And this one taught me more about Mexicans. You see, if I didn't met her, I'm guaranteed that I would be with a beautiful blonde like Laura Strathmann, the same lady here I'm talking about. Green eyes. These are the fantasy women that I dreamt about while I was in Jamaica. I honestly dreamt about these things. But most of all, I dreamt about being a cowboy in Wyoming and Texas. That's why I was in Wyoming and Texas. When in basic training, they asked, you guys for basic training, we're going to send some here, some here, some here. We're going to send you to Texas, or you want to go to Germany. And I say, Texas? The cowboy state? He said, yes. I want to go there. You're going to Fort Bliss. Wow. El Paso, about across the bridge with the Mexican. I grew up on cowboys. Guys, I have been defrauded so bad by a judicial system that you just can't understand how it hurts. They have defrauded me every letter of my due process. They have literally tried to rob me. The first thing I have sent to El Paso, I had an attorney, I think his name was Frank Art. Came, she's trying to sue you and you need to respond. Frank Hart withdrew because Sergio Gonzalez was the one who filed a lawsuit against me here in Wyoming, but he filed in Texas, and he was trying to get me to come to Wyoming. But after he did his research, he found out that, hey, something is wrong right here. I live in Wyoming, not in Texas. But what was the real problem was that Sergio Gonzalez filed a lawsuit against me when he had no standing. I'm private. I am private. And he's trying to sue me and drag me into their court system. But the fraud starts from there. They already had the judge, Judge Strathmann, who was also presiding over similar cases with Sergio and this other guy who is in Maryland right now who's fighting over his daughter with the same woman. But what you don't know is that Sergio Gonzalez and her, these are not allegations, must have more intimacy to this case. After I told the attorney Frank Hart, listen, I know for a fact that they are sleeping around. Immediately, I heard that within a month, Sergio Gonzalez recused himself, literally withdrew from the case, and she allows him. And then Doris Sipes came into the game. This is just a fraudulent system that they are playing and acting out. Frank Hart says the court should not be in Texas because I live in Wyoming for 13 years. My son, Andres Anthony Lee, is right now 15 coming May 04, 2020. Mom and I have been communicating. Here are the emails. As you can see, here are the emails. She says we weren't. She says we weren't communicating. We have not said anything. I kidnapped the kid and I left Texas with him. After 13 years, you come forward with this allegation and lie. She's not paying child support, guys. At the divorce, she wasn't there, and I knew she had criminal records and criminal history, and it was going to be difficult. But I strung myself out as a black man with this young man. Someone has to be responsible, and I chose to do just that. Surmount all the headaches and the stress and the mental loss of faculties that I had to go through. I knew one thing. I had helped many soldiers before, but now you have a little kid. You need to help him too. Here I am. I filed this paper because Frank Hart was playing around and they were trying to get me to participate in the 38th District Court when my court should be in Wyoming. Because I lived there for 13 years, right? Here is the case number, guys. Please go online right now. Please go online right now and you will see this case. I say I am not pro se. I have declared everything here. I've declared everything here, right? The case is, I told them, listen, you have no jurisdiction over me. You don't have subject matter. I don't live there. This is what I filed in the affidavit. because Frank Hart I fired him, and I fire Mario Martinez because he gave me papers that was so fraudulent. He wanted to tie me into this corrupt system. Luckily, I did a minor in law in Wyoming. He literally was trying to have me sign over jurisdiction to Texas when I don't live there. And they are fraudsters. They're thieves. They're liars. They'll do anything to cover up for themselves because they're bar buddies. B-A-R. Not the one that you go and drink at, but they're barristers. Yes. And I am so upset with them. Here is something that was filed, guys. This is a document that's filed there. It's very important. This is very important to me. The court paused for a while. Notice I have challenged the court's jurisdiction. Right? Doris Sipes has not responded. She has not said anything. Again, the court kept on moving. I've sent them this paper. Special appearance. I've never set foot in El Paso. I've never been into the court. How is it that they grant Doris Sipes a default judgment against me, a private man, with standing? How on earth can a judicial system, after I've disclosed to her my standing in this matter, I've literally told them in El Paso they're robbing me of due process. They're taking me into jurisdiction unknown. I don't live in Texas. Yes, it's a family case matter. But what's happened was Andrea Morales should have filed her case in Wyoming, where I live. But just because the same legal system helped her with other guys before to get child support from a young man who's presently a military, you can look in the court documents and you will see these things. How on earth is this possible in America? Land of the free, home of the brave, where justice must prevail. I was already guilty, basically. They lack jurisdiction in Texas. Even till this day, they have lacked jurisdiction over me. What's so puzzling is that Doris Sipes kept on running when I keep giving her these type of paperwork because she knows she's breaking the law. But they will do anything to try to get me to pay. Anything. Not in the best interest of the child, because the young man was an honor student. Let's talk about who he is when I've explained it to them in one of the first letters that you will see in the documents. I told them this kid is a multiple honor student in Wyoming. 4-time chess champions. If I put his report cards here online, you was like, damn, this young